Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square here with T-Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. Got a great video planned out for you guys today. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about insurance, specifically wealth insurance. I had gotten a great comment recently. I'm going to read that comment to you guys in just a minute. And I thought it was important that we talk a little bit about insurance, and specifically because a lot of people don't view gold and silver the way us in the stacking community do. When you bring up gold and silver to some of these people, they laugh at you. They think you're a tinfoil hat nut job or whatever the case may be. Trust me, I have gotten those looks. I've gotten those laughs, those chuckles, and that's okay. Because ultimately, I believe I'm in a better position today because I have kind of changed the game for myself. When inflation hits and everybody else is taking a hit, I've basically changed the table to where the more inflation we see, the more my personal wealth goes up. And a lot of you guys have seen this if you've been stacking gold and silver. Now, I understand the price of everything is going up. And therefore, some might say, well, you didn't really gain nothing. You just protected your purchasing power. But here's the thing. When prices go up so high that people can't afford it, what do you think's going to happen? Stuff could go on sale. And I expect we will start seeing sales on some stuff. Now, if I've invested in gold and silver, while my wealth is going up, most people's net worth is going down. Why? It's not, or maybe it ain't going down, it's just not growing as fast. And a lot of that is because they're going out to the grocery store, they're buying stuff, it's costing them an arm and a leg, and they barely have any money to put to their 401k, to their savings. I mean, most people don't even have a savings account now. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. And if you enjoy the video, I ask that you take a quick minute, hit that subscribe button. If you're new to subscribing to the channel, this is the first time I've ever said this, please leave a comment that said new subscriber here or just subscribed, anything like that. I'm trying to kind of track a couple things. I don't understand what is happening. Something seems to be going wrong a little bit with the subscriber count going up all of a sudden. So please hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. With that being said, if you're already subscribed, hit that thumbs up button and leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on what we're talking about today. So right off the bat, the first thing I will start off with is checking out the price of silver right now, the price of gold right now, and the price of Bitcoin. And then we'll talk for a couple minutes, and then we'll jump into what we're supposed to talk about today. Okay, so we got silver trading right now at $41.26. It's been a pretty up and down day. However, we're not far from $42, which is really good. A lot of people are asking, are we going to see some kind of a pullback? Are we going to hit $45 soon? What's going on? So here's my personal take on that. I expect as this month goes on, we will see a lot of sideways trading. Will it go up a little bit? It might go up a little bit. It might come down a little bit. Once the Fed meeting happens, that's going to be the interesting day, because the Fed meeting, a lot of people understand they're expecting to cut interest rates. If they know or really firmly believe they're going to cut interest rates, a lot of people are already buying into essentially moving up the markets because they're already pricing it in. As they price it in, when it happens, we may not see as big of a jump as some people are expecting in the stacking community. On the flip side of that, if they decide not to cut interest rates, I would expect a pretty good pullback. But I'm pretty confident they should be cutting interest rates, which means we could see the price go up a little bit at first, maybe a buck or two even. But I expect as the third financial quarter comes to an end, I expect we will give some of that back. And I believe we could even see a little bit of a pullback for the short run. Not anything I'm worried about. If we see a pullback, it will not be any lower, in my personal opinion, than the $38 range. We might see the low $39 range, which I think would be a good area to see a pullback because I personally would like to see enough of a pullback to where I can pick up some ounces at $40 an ounce, factoring in the premiums and everything. And I think there's a good chance we could see that. It's going to be very short-lived. Once the new month starts back up, the new financial quarter, I think we are off to the races at that point. Now, I got to take a quick minute and apologize. If you guys can hear my dog chewing on his bones, his beef bones, I always give him rib bones, the big beef dino rib bones. I apologize because of the cracking. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the gold price. Gold price right now is trading at $36. $3,645. I can't even believe I just said that. Gold is trading at $3,645. Here's the thing with this. So in order to pull back the price of silver, what we generally see is a slight pullback in gold. We don't see gold take huge hits. It's not as volatile as silver. And so we could see some sort of a little bit of a pullback. Personally, I would be shocked if we see it go under $3,500. If we do see $3,500, that's a buying opportunity, I think, if you are buying gold. However, right now, I personally still like silver better. So I'm trying to pick up more silver when I can, but it is hard when someone essentially has a really nice gold coin that they're selling, or they need money and I'm just trying to, help them out by picking up some of their stuff, especially when they tell me, hey, I'll give you this gold coin at spot, and it's a smaller gold coin. You don't see smaller gold coins at low premiums that often. Taking a quick look at Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin sitting at $112,000. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because I do think Bitcoin is going to go up in the short run. And the reason I think that is if they decide to cut interest rates, a lot of people are going to view that as cheap money. They're going to be able to borrow money cheaper, and that cheaper money will probably get pushed in to, a lot of it will get pushed into Bitcoin, driving the price higher for another hoorah, I guess you can say. But then as the month goes on, I expect we will see a pullback. Specifically next month, we should see a little bit more of a pullback on Bitcoin. We actually seen Bitcoin get down to 107,000. I personally would not be surprised to see Bitcoin come down to 100,000 in the foreseeable future, within the next few months. Before the year comes to an end, I think we'll be back under 100,000 on Bitcoin, which brings me to my next slide that I'm showing you guys. Silver sitting at number 7 right now in assets. So if you take the asset price, multiply it by how much is out there, you come up with a market cap of $2.36 trillion. We got Bitcoin in number 8 coming in at $2.235 trillion. The two are pretty close right now. I would not be surprised to see these flip before the month comes to an end, and then flip back next month and see silver continue to rise higher. I would not even be surprised to see silver move into the 5th spot literally within the next 2 to 3 months. So that kind of gives people that are stacking silver hope. So with that being said, let's jump in now and let's talk a little bit about wealth insurance. So a lot of people know what insurance is. We all buy insurance, whether you buy car insurance in case you have an accident, whether you buy fire insurance for your home, maybe you buy hurricane insurance. I am down here close to the Gulf, and so when a hurricane comes into the Gulf of America, usually insurance companies will either stop selling it. Someone out there just said it. I heard it through the screen. Someone said the Gulf of America. So first of all, I got to say, if that bothers you, I apologize. But it is technically called the Gulf of America now. So I know some people get a kick out of that, so I had to mention it. Article 14,172. Okay, so when a hurricane comes into the Gulf of America, what do we usually see happen? Think about the insurance companies. A lot of insurance companies will not write policies. You will not be able to get insurance. Why? Because the risk of it happening at that point is just too great. They don't want to sell it. And a lot of people don't realize with gold and silver, at a certain point, the chances of you being able to buy it is going to be very difficult. There'll always be someone. I'm sure you could probably even buy insurance from somebody if a hurricane came into the Gulf. But I think it would be very expensive. And the same thing is going to happen when governments shut down and people start seeing the writing on the wall. Not a lot of people are going to want to sell their gold and silver. Now, we're already seeing signs of the dollar weakening. We're seeing it in prices continuing to rise. We're seeing increases in prices. We're seeing jobs essentially drying up. A lot of people are saying it's AI that's taking over the job markets. Could just be slower production, people not spending as much. Think about how money moves around. When you get paid and you get a bunch of money coming into your household, what do? You go shopping. You go out to eat. You spend money. That money being spent goes in somebody else's pocket. A company that maybe serves you dinner at a restaurant, you pay them for that. Then that company pays their employees. Their employees go home. Some of them go home and they get an Uber to get home, a taxi, whatever. They go grocery shopping when they get paid. Then the grocery store gets that money, and then they pay their employees. And their employees end up spending money too. And it's kind of a cycle. It's the cycle of money, essentially. The more money revolves, essentially, the more taxes come out, because each person that holds those dollars are getting taxed. And there's a whole separate thing that's happening. The more money there is in the system, essentially they're debasing the currency. The more they print, the more money they produce, the less it's worth. We've talked about this so many times. And so people need to find out, hey, what can I do? What can I do to essentially protect my hard work? I go to work every day. We all hear it. I go to work every day. I slave 40, 60 hours, 80 hours a week. Maybe you work 2 jobs. You come home and you feel like you're barely making ends meet. I can tell you most people in the stacking community are probably doing better right now because the price of their silver is going up. So their value of their assets are doing better. Now, I understand everything else is going up. A lot of people tell me they have this belief that, yeah, but the cost is going up on everything we spend money on. And that's true. The cost of everything we buy is going up. However, for the average person out there that's not stacking, they're absorbing that cost. They have nothing they can do. I've picked up ounces of silver. Just recently, I picked up ounces of silver for $38. I actually got offered today $43 an ounce if I wanted to give them ones up. And I don't want to give them up if I don't have to. If I have a hard time making ends meet this month, hey, maybe I want to go out to eat at a nice restaurant. Maybe I want some of that seafood y'all seen in that short video the other day. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Probably got to be careful clicking. I hope it don't play a commercial. Okay, yeah, there it is. No commercial. Good. I mean, take a look at that. I'll play that for a quick minute while I'm talking. I may want to go out to eat. And if I decide I want to go out to eat and it's going to cost me a little extra, I might have to sell a few ounces of silver. Don't get to eat good food every day. I mean, I eat at home a lot of the time, but I do like to treat myself once in a while. That looks delicious with the broccoli. I love the broccoli. And, so as they print more money, a lot of people out there that are not in the stacking community, they're getting destroyed. They literally are. They're not having their assets go up in value. Their assets are, a TV in their mind, a bed, some nice furniture, maybe a new kitchen set. Maybe they're paying on a car, and a lot of these people are buying it with credit, which means they're paying a higher interest. And as interest rates are up, they're really getting squeezed. But a lot of people aren't looking at the wealth insurance. We buy the insurance for everything. Why would someone not want to buy wealth insurance? To see their assets go up in value. You know, I talk to younger, I say younger, like in their early 20s, a lot about this, because my son is in that age group and he believes in it. And sometimes I'll get asked by some of his friends about this. You know, they're trying to understand, and they're like, well, I don't have a lot of money, so I only make this much money. I said, you could change your life around by just changing one simple thing today. Well, how would I get started? You start with 1 ounce. You buy 1 ounce of silver today, this week, this payday. And every payday, you squeeze a little extra to buy an ounce. Well, what does an ounce cost? I said, an ounce, you can pick up a cheap ounce of silver, $42. It's not going to be collectible. It's not going to be anything fancy. I think $42 is easy to say. Maybe you want to buy some junk silver. Buy some junk silver, and you can get it pretty much at spot right now through different dealers, specifically one that I'm thinking of. I just don't like specifically saying dealers' names, because sometimes if I start saying it, I might say this dealer XYZ has a good deal on something today, but then they might be burning you on something tomorrow, in my opinion. So, but there are a lot of online dealers. There's a lot of coin shops. If they get a lot of something in, they're going to run a special on it. That's going to give you an opportunity. I had one person tell me, though, he don't like junk silver. I said, why not? He said, because I know you'll give me spot for it if I need the money. However, a lot of people, what is a pawn shop going to tell me? Well, I said, well, first of all, you take anything to a pawn shop, you're probably going to get burned unless it's just an honest pawn shop. There is one person that owns a pawn shop that watches the videos, and if you are him, not everybody is bad. There are pawn shops out there that take care of their customers. However, there are a lot of pawn shops out there that gouge. And I understand pawn shops have to make money. It's awful to put everybody in one category, so I have to kind of say that, because I'm not going to stereotype pawn shop owners or employees. However, you should know you're going to get the most money for your silver if you sell it to another stacker. I try to buy from other stackers all the time. And if I can pick it up at spot price, that's a steal for me. And for people that are trying to get silver for $10 under spot, I laugh a little bit at that. But yes, I blame the person buying it, but I also blame the person selling it. Because I know right now one shop that he pays literally like $10 back, which I think is insane. And I said, and that's why you never have any coins in here halfway decent. I don't even like coming here anymore, because I can almost guarantee you're not going to have anything that I want in here. And he's like, well, I can't make money selling for $1 over spot. I said, you don't know because you haven't done it. $1 or $2 over spot, and then people bring it into you and get spot. I mean, yeah, it can't be your sole thing. I said, but you sell other stuff here. You can't expect you're going to make all your money back off of one customer. You know, so once you start doing this, I mean, how many people really, you know, a lot of new people don't really know what the price chart looks like. This is the price chart of the long-term price chart on silver. Yeah, we have these few crazy days. And I always tell people, if the price spikes up overnight, I mean, if the price right now skyrocketed overnight to like $100, what does that tell you? A lot of people would want to buy. I hate to say that. There are going to be a lot of people, when we see a price spike instantly, people go like, man, I wish I got in. Why do you want to chase the train? I want to get on the train and ride the train. You know, these people that watched the price skyrocket in 1979, 1980, you know, you've seen that big price jump. And they thought it was a good idea to buy at $40, $50 silver. even though this chart only shows it at 35. Yeah, they lost their butt. It came back down. But they still got their silver. Maybe hopefully they held it. Hopefully they bought while it was down here. Then it skyrocketed again. And this chart shows it at $48, even though we know it went up to 50. And then it came back down. You know, when you see the price of something skyrocket and then pull back, pullbacks are opportunities. I'm convinced there's not many people. A lot of people say when silver hits 50, it's going to have a big pullback. It's going to hit a lot of resistance. I'm not convinced there's a lot of people holding silver all that time, and they're just waiting on the sideline saying, as soon as I get my 50 back, I'm selling. I don't believe that. I believe once it hits 50 and breaks through 50, it is going to run. Now, do I think 50 will have some resistance? Absolutely. I think the manipulators will try to psych people out like, oh, it just hit the all-time high. Now's the time to sell. I wouldn't be surprised to even see it on the news. You know, one of the good things, too, about wealth insurance, you know, when I buy hurricane insurance, if I buy it, I don't generally buy it. I gamble. And I understand 100% that if a hurricane comes in and ruins my house, I could get burned and have nothing. I mean, that's a possibility. However, I also know how FEMA works a little bit. And I've seen people get repairs on their house done for next to nothing. Or they get a loan and essentially they just pay it back interest free. Or they end up, people that buy insurance end up fighting the insurance company to get their repairs done. And in some cases, not even wanting to. Finding an excuse. Oh, that wasn't wind, that was flood. You didn't have flood insurance. I've actually seen that happen to somebody. That, oh, you didn't buy flood insurance. You know, your fire didn't cover it. Your hurricane didn't cover it. That was flood. And everybody wants to push the blame on someone else. But one of the good things about wealth insurance, buying gold and buying silver is, if a hurricane doesn't come in, what happens? You lose that money anyway. They keep it. What happens if the dollar doesn't collapse? You bought gold and silver because you're worried about a collapsing dollar. Let's say you bought it at the beginning of the year. The dollar didn't collapse. However, you bought that insurance at $28, $29 an ounce. That insurance is now costing new people $41 an ounce, $42 an ounce. The further down the road we go and the more we debase the currency, the paper currency, the more expensive that insurance is going to get. To a point where we're going to see $100 or $200 an ounce silver, because that's it. We're at that point where people are really worrying about it. More people are thinking about it and worrying about it. I know a lot of people can't fathom $100 silver. Maybe because they were buying it when it was $5 an ounce. Maybe because they look at it and they say, look how long it took to get to $41. You know, here's the thing. I understand that. I understand the frustration behind the manipulation. But that's what they want. They want you to be frustrated so you don't buy it. Old saying, do as we say, not as we do. Think about that for a minute. They tell you silver is a bad investment. They tell you not to buy gold. It's a bad investment. But what are the central banks around the world doing? They tried saying it was nothing more than a pet rock, essentially. You pay a lot of money for it. You dig a hole. You secure it. You pay people to stand around and watch it. It does nothing but cost you money. Think about that for a minute. But yet they're doing just that. Why are they doing that? You know, just the beginning of the year, like I said, $28, $29. And look how much it's gone up so far this year. To me, if I can put $29 in something and 9 months later it's worth $41, that's an absolute steal. And the year ain't over. We got 3 more months. We're in the worst part of the year statistically for silver. Summertime, silver almost never does good. They call it the summertime slumps, sell in May and go away. You know, and here we are going through that right now. Where was our big pullback for the summer that we always see? We didn't see it this year. I think we're about ready to see a big move higher, because usually when summer comes to an end and we start going into the fall, the winter months, we usually see the price start picking up. I'm still a firm believer we're going to see $50 silver by the end of the year. Even though my beginning of the year prediction was like 48, I mean, I think 48 is a no-brainer. I think we will probably break through 50 briefly, even though there will be a lot of resistance, like I said. They don't want you to see silver price too high. But here's the thing. They can't keep shorting it. They can't keep giving away Nike sneakers at the mall for $10 a pair when it's getting sold out. If they were giving Nikes away at $10 a pair, they'd be selling out every day. How long can they bleed out that money? The company would eventually shut down the store if they were doing that. But if they want to preach that, oh, silver is, Nikes aren't worth anything, or they're cheap sneakers, look, we're giving them away at $10 a pair, whatever the case may be, you know, for whatever reason, they can't do it forever. Same with silver. They can't keep the price down forever. We will see the price run. Now, this is not financial advice, nor should it be considered as such, but it's a lot of stuff to take in, especially if you're new. And I'm making this video a little bit for the people that are new to the channel or new to silver, trying to understand what is going on. Why are people buying silver? And I may even try to go a different angle at some point and talk about this again, because some people just think silver is nothing more than another collectible. They see the fancy coins. They see the fancy pours that people pour, custom pours and stuff. I got one friend that is a member of the channel. He has a really nice alien that he had someone do a custom pour. It's basically a kilo of silver. Little alien head. It looks super cool. It's amazing to see. And he loves it. You know, but it doesn't make it a collectible. This is real wealth. And it's wealth that, here's the thing, you can take this insurance policy and give it to somebody. A regular insurance policy, I'm sorry, you can't give it away. At the end of the year, it expires. They keep your money. This insurance policy goes up in value. You can turn it over to someone. You could cash it in if nothing happens, get your money back. You can roll it over, and now you have the insurance policy for if the dollar collapses next year. Does the dollar have to collapse for your insurance policy to pay when it's wealth preservation, wealth insurance? No. I mean, the dollar didn't collapse this year, but yet, look, this is the chart that you're looking at right now, year to date. It's gone up in value. I mean, at this rate, if it keeps up like this, we're going to see a big climb next year. Now, here's the thing, too, to think about. Prior to the big run-up of the big run-up of 79, 80, this run-up, it lasted a little while. Same with the recent run-up. When we had the run-up to 2011, that run-up lasted a little while. It wasn't a one-and-done thing. The same thing, I believe, is happening right now. We're seeing the run-up happen. The thing is, we've only seen double-digit numbers. Soon, we could start seeing a triple-digit number. Can you imagine 110% in 1 year? What would 110% be? Think about that. I mean, silver's at 41. That means it's going to double plus another 10%. You know, and here's another thing that one of my friends told me that you need to consider. If silver keeps having let's say a 1% jump every day, well, 1% of $41, I mean, we're talking, what is that, 41 cents, 1%. If it goes up 1%, $41, and it goes, 1%, 41 cents, let's just say for a minute, as that continues, 1% in a month from now is going to be more because you're compounding it. Your gains are also going to make interest on them gains. So, I mean, it's safe to say if you see a 1% climb on a regular basis, that naturally that 1% is still going to, it may go up 2%, But even if it just does 1%, them numbers, the dollar amount gets bigger and bigger. The easy way to look at that is, let's say over the course of a month, you see silver go up 10%. 10% from $41. That means it went up $4.10. So you would have $45.40. But then if you see another 10% next month, now it's going to have an even, it's not going to be it's not going to be the same 410 when you think about it. It's going to be a bigger number. The value goes up. It's compounding interest. So, I want people to understand what's going on. I wished all my friends were invested in precious metals. I had someone leave me a comment one day, "You're pumping and dumping." Trust me, I'm not getting rid of my silver. I'm rooting for it to go a whole lot higher. Will I get rid of it at a certain point? I mean, there's a possibility if I need money for another item. I'm not going to sell my silver just to put money in a bank account. It doesn't make sense to do that. You look at some of the richest families in the world, the Rothschilds, Prince Henry. You look at these, or I shouldn't say Prince Henry, King Henry. You look at these people, their wealth is in precious metals. A lot of their wealth is in gold. They understand gold goes up. Inflation is designed to take a portion of your money. If you're holding your money in dollars, you're losing a certain percentage every year. Every time inflation happens, that's pushing that money back to them. But if you have gold and silver, that's preventing it from happening. And here's the thing. If today I'm middle class and all of the middle class collapses, the people that aren't stacking, and a lot of the wealthy collapse because they didn't have the foresight to buy precious metals, where does that put me if I had precious metals? If you don't fall with everybody else, you're in a better spot. I don't want to take a big hit. With that being said, let me see how long we've been talking. Not too bad, 32 minutes. A little short. Real quick, I want to talk a little bit, just a brief minute, even though I did a video not too long about it, a little while ago, about the Mexican peso. When the old Mexican peso got converted into the nuevo peso, what happened? So a lot of people were holding pesos, and the prices of everything just kept going up, and it was out of control. It was literally a peso crisis, almost like we could see today with a dollar crisis. Prices were just out of control. This happened slow at first. Same with Venezuela. Same with a lot of countries. It happened slow at first, and then it just continued to escalate. Inflation got worse and worse and worse. Until one day, they said, let's make a new peso, and let's convert all of the old pesos 1,000 to 1. This would strengthen our peso. You worked. Let's just say you've been working all your life and you've got all your pesos in the bank account. Maybe you've accumulated 100,000 pesos, and all of a sudden they do a conversion. You now have 100 pesos. They took off 3 zeros. Can you imagine having 100 pesos and then it goes to 1? Think about that. Now, yes, when you go to work on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you get paid, you're going to get paid in new pesos. So there's incentive, obviously, for you to go back to work. But the savings, it got destroyed. Everybody. It was actually someone, his name was Carlos Slim. Some of y'all may have heard of him. Very rich person in Mexico, probably one of the richest in Mexico, I would say. Even though they say some of the richest people, you don't know who they are. They're secretly rich. But Carlos Slim converted most of his pesos prior to this event to gold. He went to bed. Gold was sitting at, let's just say for a minute, 400 pesos. I don't know what the price was. 400 pesos. The next day, It was still 400 pesos. However, it had to be bought in the new pesos. So when you take 400 pesos and you add the 3 zeros on there, well, essentially, if you were buying it in old money, it was a whole lot higher. But can you imagine you take 3 zeros off of your savings account, and all of a sudden that's what you have in your bank account? But can you imagine the guy that bought the gold and he didn't take that hit? Oh, he maintained his purchasing power. He didn't make any money off it. He may not have made money, but he didn't take a big hit like everybody else. People have to understand this. Once you invest money in precious metals, it does really well. It continues to climb. Are there pullbacks? Are there people? I get comments all the time on this channel. And I always say this is not financial advice, just my opinion. Entertainment. This is an entertainment channel. That's how it's classified as. YouTube classifies me as entertainment. But I had someone leave me a comment one day. You fool, I did what you did, and I used my credit card, and I bought a bunch of silver at $32. This was only like 3 months ago. $32 silver. You used your card, I used my card, and now silver's down to, what did it go down to? $28. Now silver's down to $28. Thanks a lot. I just lost my butt. If he really did that at $32, I would say he is in a very good position right now, since we're at $41.33. I'm not saying that to tell you to go out and use your credit card. In fact, it is recommended you do not use your credit card to buy precious metals. If you don't have the money, you should not be charging it. My circumstances were a little different. They gave me 0% interest for 12 months. 12 months. A lot can happen in 12 months. Silver can go up, as it has, from $32 to almost $42. They could collapse the currency and reset the whole system. Now, if they reset it, well, the money that I spent on silver would be a whole lot easier to pay back. Now, unfortunately, I guess I should say that I did spend part of that money on gold. What was gold 3 months ago? Yeah, gold didn't have as big of a drop, but it has been having a recent climb. I guess I probably shouldn't say that because let's see what it was. April, June, July, April. Let's see what we saw. That was August. Where is it? I don't even see it. April, May. Why is it showing it like that? Year to date. Let's say year to date. Was it here? Oh yeah, right here. I mean, what did gold go down to? Gold went down to about $3,000 at that same time period. So yeah, I guess I shouldn't complain. Buying a little bit of gold at $3,000 an ounce is, I mean, still a nice profit. $600 profit. So, a lot to think about here. I'm going to wrap up the video here because I don't want it to get too long. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it gives you something to think about. If you enjoyed the video and you did not hit the thumbs up or the subscribe button yet, please take a quick minute and do that for me. It really helps out more than you know. I can't thank you enough if you do. Let me take a quick look here and pull up these videos for you. Please take a quick minute to check out some of these other great videos. I try to post videos every day, Monday through Friday. I post a lot of short videos on the weekend. And if you're a new subscriber, just subscribed. Nothing makes me happier than seeing that when people do it. So I thank you guys. And if you don't always comment, hey, pop in, say hello one day. I love reading y'all's comments, even if it's just a quick hello, new to the channel. Hey, I've been watching your channel for a little while. I had someone leave me that comment today. I've been watching your channel for a while, but I never comment. I wanted to comment and say I love your videos. I really appreciated hearing that too. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk, and have a great day. Bye-bye. I'll see you all tomorrow.